So Prakash, we'll give it a minute or 30 seconds for everyone to settle in
Yeah.
and we'll start. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to all these conversations we're going to have today, mainly around the unspoken and unseen in coaching. You want to start, Prakash? Should we start?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
So coaches, you settle in, and as you are introducing yourself and saying hello to everyone, Prakash and I will start. And I got a burning question to start with. So, one of the themes that we're speaking about in the synopsis of this webinar, Prakash, was coaching between the lines. Eh, eh, Yeah, I love that space, the in between spaces. And how does it relate to the deeper work we do as coaches? But I wanted to check with you, Prakash, what inspired that theme?
Thank you, Cindy. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I see a lot of people. I think we have just touched 100 now. Thank you for joining in and thanks for making time. I see that people have joined from all over the place, Toronto, Italy, Canada. Beautiful. Cindy,
It
so
is.
when as coaches, we have we have been trained on this marker language. We have core competencies. We have a structure to take the conversation, navigate the client uh, in the journey of client's way forward. And as we do that, sometimes and a lot of times, not just sometimes, a lot of times we see that client takes a pause. Maybe there is a change in breathing. There is a smile. Maybe there is a giggle as they speak, or maybe there is a shoulder drop, or there is they just open up their shoulders, or they wink too much, or they use their hands more, or they look at a particular direction. Anything can be picked up because unconsciously, even clients don't know that their somatic experience, their sensory experience is having a meaning. And as coaches, it is important that we pick it up. That's what I mean by reading between the lines, coaching between the lines.
So, from hearing from what you said and heading to it, it speaks to like what I call the invisible golden threads that holds this I meaning for the client in a coaching conversation. And it's exactly what you were saying, the pauses, energy shifts, metaphors,
Yeah,
a slight hesitation before a word.
yeah,
And it's not just what the client is saying, but those little pieces of how they're saying it, what's not said, and the why, the meaningfulness of the now.
yeah, yeah. And something that you said, that hesitation before telling something.
Hmm.
Sometimes the transcript, we see that maybe it's a grammatical mistake, especially in the Word documents. We can't correct it because it's a transcript. You see that
Hmm.
clients repeat, you know what, I cannot, I have never, I cannot. And in English sense, it makes no sense. They have repeated I 5 times, cannot 5 times, I've never 3 times. But that word repetition, maybe client not being in the flow, has got something to explore for. So client is not searching for words. They're searching for something deep within to be explored. It's not that they're not able to communicate freely or in the free flow. Maybe they're exploring. And as master coaches, it is important that you pick it up and say, hey, I see that there is some struggle that you are finding it as you say this to me. What's the struggle there?
Hmm. So, yeah, I'm even aware of my own pauses now, now that we're talking about it. So it's like all these subtle cues and these uh, that speaks to the layers, the deeper layers of a human experience, whether it's, past learnings or current, what's going on, or the desire of a future. And then, of course, all what's happening
Yeah.
inside the client that's leading to a transformation. We're talking here more about the unsaid, the unseen, and the unfelt. So, what do you mean when we say that? I mean, what does it mean for you talking about that, Prakash?
When choice of words, unsaid, sometimes, it's
Hmm.
choice of words. Sometimes clients have not told what it is, but they really meant it. When someone says that if I was, if I was, if I were to be younger, then probably I'd have done this. What they really mean is probably they're deep inside, they're feeling that they're missing that youthfulness. Maybe they're missing few years of their life. Maybe there is something in the past that they wanted to do and they did not do, and they're thinking about it now. They have not told that, but they just made a casual. I mean, it looks so casual. All of us speak about it. If I
Hmm.
were to be younger, then I would have done this. I wish I was born now. There are so many opportunities. It's a common statement to make. But what do they really mean about it in the coaching conversation? And the use
Yeah.
of word, when they say if, it's double condition. The word if itself is double condition linguistically. If I
Hmm.
am free, I will call you also means if I am not free, I will not call you.
Hmm.
I have not told the second line. If I wake up in the morning, I'll go for a run. I go running. What I'm also told myself is if I don't wake up at 5, I will not go running. So I've given two instructions to brain when I use the word if. So the choice of words that client use when you see that people are using cause and effect, if is a cause and effect, it's good to check as coaches what is the effect that client is looking for. Or someone says that I've at this age, at this juncture of my life, I have decided this, I have decided that. When people use the word decide, linguistically, it means that they've killed all the other choices. Because decide, side in Latin, it means to kill. So it comes from that clan of the words suicide, pesticide, germicide, homicide, infecticide, decide.
Hmm.
Yeah. So today, I decided to be part of this webinar. I've killed all other options. I could have been anywhere today.
Hmm.
And this is true for all the 134 people who are on this very call. They could have been anywhere. So you decide to kill all other options. So when client is using decide in a non-resourceful way, that's where as a coach you step in and check. That's what you explore.
So, in a way, you're saying it's a limitation.
Yeah. When used not so resourcefully.
Hmm.
So as you calibrate with the client is using the word decide or even the word but. Everything that you say after but magnifies everything that you have said before but negates. It's like saying, hey, you're very good with studies, but you're not good in maths. So what stays with you is you're not good in maths. Almost every time it gets negated that you're good in studies. So choice of words, where you place the but. It's like that famous proverb, difficult but impossible, impossible but difficult.
Hmm.
Difficult but possible, possible but difficult. The minute you change, you replace the word here and there, the whole intonation changes. Similarly, unseen, when people look on a particular side and speak. They roll their eyes somewhere. They keep looking down and speaking. It says something about their sensory experience. And in neuro-linguistic programming, we call it as eye accessing cues. It's, people simply don't look here and there. They're making something out deep inside. So as coaches, if you keep looking, if client is looking down on the right side and keep speaking to you, that means that client is feeling something. You can actually check on that. As you say, what's the emotion that you're going through, what are you experiencing? Similarly, when people keep looking at on their left downwards and keep speaking, they're telling themselves something. They're saying something to you, and there is also self-talk. I'm just guessing. If you can make this to the client and say, I'm just guessing. As you speak to me, are you saying something to yourself as well? I might be wrong, but I'm just guessing. And if client says, yes, I'm speaking this to myself, then there is an aha moment. So your visual recall is here. Your audio recall is here. Your self-talk is here. Your visual construct is here. Your audio construct is here. And your feelings are here.
So, can I take a moment here, Prakash? Prakash?
Please.
So, Prakash and I have dived fully into the webinar, unpacking pieces of it that links to the theme of today's webinar. What's coaching between the lines, mastering this unsaid, unseen, unfelt. And during the rest of the webinar, we are going to dive into all these power pieces of the power of NLP in enhancing conversational coaching, how to become more attuned to your clients, subtle shifts, the simplest of what's between the lines, like a shift in the breath, a flicker in high movement, pieces of the unspoken, or hesitation. I want you to frame what we are doing before we dive in again. And may I encourage you, as you are listening in, to type into the chat. One of the questions I would love to engage all of you in is, what is this unspoken for you? How does it show up with your clients? And please, your experience on how you are coaching your clients and how these pieces show up, that kind of diversity is most meaningful. So share from your space, like what are you noticing? Prakash?
So I see a question here from Chitradurga Murthy. Sorry, where is it? I think it's Chiatam. What about vestibular and proprioceptive? See, these are little biological. It's more uh, it's actually related to your body balance and motion and motor. How is it related to coaching? If you see, it's like, if you kind of spin for some time and then you stand, you feel kind of dizzy. That's what is vestibular, right? It's a piece in the inner ear which um, creates balance for you. It gives you balance for your body. It creates equilibrium. So you see people sometimes, when they speak, they roll themselves and speak. You know that something is out of balance. So what you're hearing cognitively it can be different, but sometimes people roll their heads. You can see that they're off balance as they speak. You can check what's out of balance or what's not sitting equilibrium for you. So Otherwise, it's more biological in nature. But thanks for the question.
So how does, Prakash, the question showing up for me as you just said that, how does NLP enhances a coach's ability to integrate the client's inner experience beyond the spoken word or what they are, their narrative?
Cindy, NLP traditionally used for therapy, used for indirect hypnosis, used for a variety of things. But
Hmm.
some parts of NLP, like sensory representation,
Hmm.
VAKOG, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory, parts like this makes very useful for coaching. When clients speak, it's becoming clearer for me. I can see that that client is speaking in the visual language. You can
Hmm.
sense the predicates and respond to the client. When we say client's language, it's not just the words. You can also sensorily respond back to client in the way they are speaking. Oh, it rings a bell in my ears. It sounds music to me. So that means they're hearing something. Something is happening auditorily. You can respond auditorily. I can feel it. So you often see clients, they use hands. They say that it's burden on my shoulders.
Hmm.
Kinesthetically, they're feeling something. You can respond back to that. And you can pick up metaphors. Metaphors and anchors are probably one of the greatest gifts of NLP's work, though not the original work of NLP. It existed before NLP. I think it is just an open topic that it was always there. But the amount of work on metaphors that NLP has done is really great. A simple thing that client can tell you in the flow of the language. My job feels like hell. We assume that it's normal English. What kind of hell is that? Can now client can start describing you the hell. It's dark. Then you can get into submodalities. You can actually picture the whole scenario of hell. And once you're able to do that, slowly you can, ask the client some point, when you've calibrated enough. And what do you want to do about it? Maybe client will say, I just want to get out of this hell. And and then what makes you say so? Maybe there is a awareness. I don't want to stay here. This is a very dirty, filthy place. How do you plan to do that? I can just press a eject button and just fly from here. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Using submodalities, anchors, metaphors are some of the greatest gifts that coaches can use when it comes to evoking awareness and facilitating growth.
Hmm.
Submodalities is the key. I feel that I'm like a dead log in my company. Where is this log? As you create the scene around it, you will see that client's experience starts becoming clearer. And what do you want to do about it? Now, I don't want to stay here. I want to move this log. You see that there is client's way forward. So if the log is this big, or if the log is this big, like hell can be just a 400 square feet room, or hell
Hmm.
can be a huge place. It depends on how the client is perceiving. And to get into that is what you can do as a coach. So, we have used empty chairs. Psychodrama uses empty chair. NLP
Hmm.
uses perceptual position. When you see that
Yeah.
somebody is in conflict with someone, you can actually use that process. Visualization is a big work of NLP. You can actually take the permission of the client, say that can we do a visualization process, take them into visual imagery of what the action somebody wants to take. So I want to deliver a presentation for 500 people. I'm feeling nervous about it. So that's the topic that client brings it. So you work. So what's the goal? I want to feel confident in front of 500 people. I just want to deliver my best. My content is ready. But just that, I have to be confident in front of 500 people. So as you work, maybe you can just use visualization technique, help the client here and now visualize that there are 500 people in front of them, fill in as much confidence as they want, anchor it, anchor it maybe multiple times. How do you want to feel? And then you will see that because they have visualized it, because they have anchored the confidence now, when they do it in real,
Mm.
they are much, much better. Because everything happens in the world, first happens 6 inches between the ears and then outside. So visualization is another technique that NLP offers.
So it sounds like it not only helps you really pay attention to words, what's behind the words, the emotions, etc., but also the to observe all these micro cues, what's going on with the client, the subtle shifts, tone, breathing. As an example, I recently was doing some coaching with a client. After some exploring, said, I just want to be more productive. And so there was a goal in the words, the actual, pointing to a goal, the spoken words of a goal. But the shoulders drooped, the tone in the voice like got a bit tighter, and there was some like you could feel the sense, the energy was that of resigning, yeah, fatigue, tiredness, and so there was all this words alluding to a goal, but there was all this energy that was shifting, showing up in the body as something else, and a whole set of micro cues on their face that indicated otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cindy, if you can really calibrate the clients, you will see sometimes that the color of the face changes during the coaching process. People can glow up or they can actually pale during the coaching process. So that means, when you meet the clients, it's important that, you take a photograph. You see everything. You sense everything. And then any change from there, you keep calibrating first because you're not judging, you're calibrating. And whenever you sense that, this can be explored, you can explore. Because sometimes, let's say somebody sits like this, the typical body language by Alan Pease says, oh, if somebody is not interested, I switched on AC before this session started. Actually, now I'm feeling cold because it also rained in Bangalore. So maybe I'm feeling cold. So that's why I'm sitting here like this. It really does not mean that I'm not interested. But if you see this repetitively, and if you see that you're able to calibrate that something seems not interested to the client, then you can explore. Calibrate and explore. Don't judge and ask. There is a difference. Whatever you notice, if you judge and ask, maybe you're just reinforcing what you have already judged, already assessed. Just calibrate and explore.
So when you say calibrate, what do you mean?
I had a coach in my cohort,
Mm,
level one,
mm,
typical, online session. He used to
mm.
always stand for the program. He had made a setup where he could stand and, attend the sessions. So once or twice, once we were doing a demo. So during the uh, coaching, I was coaching him, and every time I ask a question, he will literally turn this side and speak. I'm here, he is speaking here. So he's speaking to Prakash here, and then he turns back. For some questions, he is not doing it. He's speaking like this. So a couple of times, he did that. Then I asked him, if you don't mind, I just wanted to ask something. What's there on the left? Because he was turning left. What's there on the left? He took a huge pause. Then he said, Prakash, my entire past is on my left. And every time I'm referring to my past, I'm turning left. And then he actually took a break from the demo that we were doing. He said, I just want to process this. This is new for me. I'm looking at my past. If I look at my left, I'm looking at my past. So
That's so
maybe once,
interesting.
maybe somebody was uncomfortable, I turned like this and I spoke. Or maybe I was just, thinking it's casual conversation, I turned. But if you see this once or twice, and if it catches your attention, it's very important as coach that you go by your intuition.
Hmm.
It's not just, you can question everything. Post India, I see a black background behind you. What's about it? I mean, it's just a background. Okay. But, if it catches my attention, I will ask you. Maybe,
Yeah.
I know that there is a Buddha uh, poster. If it catches my attention, I don't know whether it is helpful or not. But go by coaches, go by your intuition and ask, explore.
Hmm. Absolutely. You're so spot on about the intuition. And, Prakash, what I noticed, it's not like coaches don't pick it up. They just don't know how to verbalize it sometimes. Of course, the intuition, they're picking all these pieces up, but in offering it to the client, they do not know how to come across doing that. And yet, in a discussion like after, when we mentoring, they will go, I noticed that, and I noticed that, and I got a sense of that. Actually, I didn't know how to say that to the client. So, what's your tips for that?
Thanks for asking, Cindy. A couple of times, what I notice is that as you mentor the coaches, as you rightly said, oh, I did think about it. But then, paucity of time, I did not ask.
Mm,
Sometimes, coaches think that, oh, if I keep on asking about everything, then, there's too much of time taken, then I'll probably overshoot time. What we fail to recognize is that that's where the real coaching is. You need to spend time there. I don't know why people think that if you're a coach, you have to evidence all the 37 markers. That's not coaching. We are not giving exam where 100 out of 100 is a good score. There is no good score. There is only one true North Star for any coach. That is client's way forward. If you can do it in just 20 markers, I mean, fantastic coaching session. It's a beautiful coaching session. So what if there are not too many markers? It's okay. But trust me, if you explore deep, even without your knowledge, you are touching upon many, many, many markers. So sometimes thinking that, oh, did I ask 7.3? Did I ask 7.4? Is a big barrier for being with the client because presencing
mm,
is not just attentiveness. Oh, Cindy said this word, so I explored that word. It's a
mm.
6.2 and 5.4. No. Presencing also means that I'm able to sense the client. I'm not just hearing the word, hearing the sentence. And where do we lose time? Is also I hear you say, and then I will say everything that client said and ask my question.
Yeah.
I understand that there is 6.6 codes, essentially paraphrases and
But
summarize.
the word is succinct. The word is succinct, sure.
So yeah, I mean, you really don't have to paraphrase every time.
No.
A good question is a one-liner. A beautiful question is a phrase. A fantastic question is a word. An outstanding question
Mm,
is a pause or what you just did. That's also
mm,
7.5, by the way. Just a hum is good. Sometimes, you just shift your body and you just look client like this. You've asked a question.
mm,
You don't have to speak. You are like this, listening all the time. Client said something, like, wow, I just sit like this. And client thinks that I did say something, and that's why my coach is so interested. Use your body, use the hum, use the expressions. That's outstanding question. One-liners are the best. And when I see transcripts where coach takes 90 seconds for asking a question. And why? Coach is taking 2 minutes, 3 minutes to ask a question. Why? I mean, all of this can be offered to the client. Think like this, we are in the business of coaching, we are here to offer to the client. The time that you give back to the client is the best thing you can give back in the coaching conversation. So brevity, picking up that one-liners, and somebody says something, and then you say, and is 5.4. I am curious to know, Cindy, is also 5.4. Just a and is also 5.4. I mean, David Gru's clean language has got 9 questions. He's a Australian, physicist. He was able to medically cure people just by asking those 9 questions, not by pills. And is also a question. And you have not spent any time, maybe just a second. So
It's an invitation for more, for checking what.
curious.
No. Yeah.
Curious. What our client said, you just say and client knows that you are ready to listen more. I've just, as a coach, evidenced 5.4. I really don't have to. Yeah, thanks, Priyanka. What else is also David Gru's clean language? And where is it coming from? And then what happens? And as you say this, when you say you are getting triggered, just before that, what happens? And trigger like what is a metaphor building question. You have done nothing. If someone says hell like what is a metaphor question. Someone says, my job looks like a jail. Jail like what? It's a huge jail. It's like a central jail. Okay, I hear you. Then you can build on the metaphor. It's a metaphor building question. One-liners, phrases. I mean, that's where you can really do service to the client by giving back a lot of time to them. And then you said, why do we don't do? We are probably thinking that if I ask this question, I don't know whether the conversation will drift somewhere else. We are scared about exploring the unknown ourselves. So client has come somewhere. I just want to safely go to
Navigate
3. Great. How do you hold yourself accountable? Clap, clap, clap. You have done a good job. Are we in a good, place to pause? We don't have to play safe. Come on, as coaches, take risks, be intuitive, be vulnerable. It's okay. I mean, sometimes you fail with the client. It's okay. Perfectly fine.
So all those examples that you gave also links to this, one of the processes of NLP called meta modeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And indicates an expansive thinking, exactly what you're saying now. Go to that place where if the client is sharing a bit more, it's okay, right? The conversation is evolving. That's the thought-provoking part of coaching that shows up in the definition of coaching anyway. It's you're becoming more creative and evolving as you ask all these depth questions to the client.
Yeah.
And of course, as you said, so much more shows up. I had a question here, Prakash, even I forgot it now. Oh, yeah. I was going to say to you, this is all evoking awareness. It's going into the depth of what's lying below the surface for the client. What more helps us? What other models or processes in how NLP helps with going below that surface of the iceberg?
See, when you speak about meta models, right? When we are doing contracting, many people say, I don't want to get angry. So I've seen, transcripts where both coach and client agree that by end of the session, I want to have ideas how not to get angry. So the question is, what is the goal? You told me what you don't want. You have not told me what you want. How is that a goal? I don't want to fight with my wife. It's not a goal. You're telling me what you don't want. Tell me what you want. Now, just by being mindful that client is moving away from the goal and not towards the goal is mastery. Sometimes
Yeah.
people always tell you what they don't want to do. I don't want to miss my gym. I don't want to miss promotion this year. Please tell me what you want. So generalization, deletions, and distortion. So when client tells you what they don't want, they have deleted what they want. And they're only focusing on what they don't want. And what you focus expands. Energy flows where the focus goes. If I keep telling what I don't want, I will only go to that area. It's like, imagine I told you that Cindy, don't bang the door. What's the visual you are getting?
Don't bang the door.
Bang the, yeah. The visual that
Yeah.
everybody gets is the bang of the door. If I tell
Yeah.
you, don't think
Absolutely.
of a pink elephant.
I am definitely going to think pink
Yeah.
elephants.
But I told you don't think of a pink elephant. Yeah. But if I
Mm.
tell you that, Cindy, please close the door gently. Now, what is
Yeah.
the visual that you're getting?
Mm.
So
Mm. Softly
in one
closing the door.
model, we don't realize that by saying what I don't want constantly, we are focusing more on that. We magnify it. In fact, over a period of time, we manifest it.
Mm.
So to bring the attention of the client to what you want is a meta model process. I mean, we don't have to, in coaching conversations, we don't have to bring models. We have to use, it's the application of models. It's the
So
application of,
that's like reframing.
yeah. To ask, hey, I hear you that you don't want to get angry. I'm just curious. So what do you want? So someone can say, I want to be happy. I want to be calmer, whatever it is. But saying I don't want to get angry, I have not told my brain, what do I really want in the place of anger? There is no replacement to it. So my mind will always search for how to be angry. Brain, in one of the brain principles, is brain needs specific command to function. In the absence of specific command, brain just does what is convenient. Brain does what is something that it already knows.
Mm.
The brain needs specific command. Anything is nothing. Anybody is nobody. Specific is terrific. Brain needs specific command.
So, Prakash, on the moment, as we are coaching using our own intuition, you and I, let's offer all our participants a small technique or a tool. What would you offer?
See, submodalities is very easy also. And when I say submodalities, it's like
Can we
sub,
try it together? How
yeah,
about we try it all together?
we can, we
Yeah,
can, yeah.
yeah.
So submodalities is about all the visual, auditory, kinesthetic experience that we have when we experience something.
Mm.
Okay, if let's say, okay, very favorite example of mine. When I got married, my wife uh, saw a cockroach, and 2 or 3 days into the marriage, and she screamed so loudly. I almost felt that neighbors are going to come and ask, "Is there trouble in the marriage so soon?" That loud scream it was. And then me and my mom rushed, asked what happened. She said, cockroach. Then, I asked, where is the cockroach? She said, this big cockroach. I mean, literally, she's showing. So, cockroach, how she is seeing is this big. Now, the submodality that she is experiencing is not cockroach, it is cockroach. And the fear is because of that. So, fear is false experience appearing real. Cockroach is not this big. It's real for her. I am seeing this cockroach. She is seeing this. So size is a submodality. Color is a submodality. Static or moving is a submodality. If there is any audio, any music, anything audible is a submodality. Whether it is so near or too far. Sometimes, when we have this experience of small little accidents, we miss something. It's like here.
Mm.
Even after years, it's like, I could see the truck here. The truck is still here for them. That is because the submodality is so strong. And what do you do as a coach? If I want to bring the fear of cockroach less, the first thing that has to happen is the cockroach size has to shrink and it has
Mm.
to move away. Distance is also a submodality. The cockroach is here versus cockroach is somewhere else. Distance is a submodality. It's like, you can try, can we do a demo?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So hold your hand like this. I mean, I know we cannot see the participants, but you can do it, wherever you're
Yeah,
sitting.
everybody can try it. Wherever they are, just try it. Yeah.
You just hold your hand like this.
Yeah. Any hand?
Your dominant
Okay.
hand.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe put imagine your favorite food on your hand right now. What's your
Favorite
favorite
food.
food?
I'm hungry. I can think of lots of food now. So let's just go with food. I'll call it food.
No, specific.
Oh, you need to know something.
Yeah,
Okay, coffee. Coffee. Let's just put coffee, yeah?
yeah, good, good.
It's not a favorite, it's just coffee. Yeah.
No, is it your favorite food?
Once a day. Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of favorite food?
Ah, gosh. Mangoes. Mangoes.
Mangoes, very good.
Mm.
Is it in a bowl or a plate?
No, it's in my hand. It's in my hand. I can touch it.
You can touch it.
Yeah.
So, is it slimy? Is it dry? You see,
Um, it's all sensations that I'm used to and known to me,
hmm,
and I like it. Yeah.
okay. So, what's the color of the mangoes?
Orange.
Orange,
Yeah.
dark orange, light orange. What's the
A
shade?
bit of red on the orange.
Okay. So, as you see that, is it
Mm.
fibrous? Is it very smooth? What's the texture?
Fibrous.
Fibrous.
Mm?
So, the mango is cut or it's full mango.
If I'm going to eat this in a few seconds' time, it's got to be full.
Okay. So,
Mm.
can you bring your hand closer?
Mm-hmm.
Can you smell? Can you sense it?
Mm-hmm. Mm. I can go there.
Good smell.
Fresh. Mm. Sweet.
Yeah, and can you sense the taste in your mouth?
Mm.
Yeah. Now move your hand away. Move your hand away,
Mm.
and imagine that now it's 10 feet away.
Yeah. Mm.
What are you experiencing right now?
Mm. Like, I'm not even sure why I had to move my hand away. Like, yeah.
Did,
Yeah.
did, did you see there was a hesitation to move the hand away?
Yeah. I felt,
Yeah.
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 In real, actually, there is no mangoes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But the smell was real. The taste in the mouth was real.
Yeah.
See the texture, you could see the color, you could see everything about the mango.
Mm.
And when it moved away, suddenly your experience changed.
Mm. Yeah.
Submodality for you. But in real, there was no mango here, nor 10 feet away.
So we gave it so much of focus that it became a part of reality right now.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
many of you did at your home or office, wherever you're attending. I'm sure, the experience would have shifted the minute you change. Yeah. So for some, the fight with someone, the regret of missing a promotion can be so close, so here, or sometimes it's a very associated experience. It is within me. When you move away, it's a dissociation. So association, dissociation is the technique that we use now, along with submodalities. Dissociation means distance. You dissociate. You're out of it, you're watching it like a movie. When it was here, it was just you, it was part of you. When you move it away, you are here, mango is there. It's dissociated now. Suddenly experience changes.
So association,
Yeah.
disassociation.
So
Yeah.
association is 10 years back, I had a fight with someone. I can feel it now. I can get angry the same way. I can hear the same words. I can see the same expressions. I can, in fact, take a piece of paper and write who were sitting at what part of the room, whether I was sitting on the couch, somebody was sitting on the chair, whether the TV was on, everything I can write 10 years later. But as a coach, if you ask people, dissociate, when you watch yourself in that whole scene today, what do you sense? Suddenly you'll say, "No, I don't like my expression because I was so into it. I was experiencing everything. When I watch myself, no, I don't like it. This is not me." And if you move further away, and where was it happening? Maybe I was in 7th floor. Then you say, okay, how many floors are there, that building? Okay, maybe 11th floor. Now you go to the 11th floor on the terrace. Can you hear something? Can you see something? I say, absolutely no. How much does that conversation matter from 11th floor? Maybe, it's maybe not too much. Now, can you quickly jump? Imagine yourself, you have got the powers to be on the cloud. You're on the cloud now. Can you see the room? Can you see the people? Can you hear the conversation? Absolutely nothing. From here, does the conversation matter? They say absolutely nothing. So when you dissociate from not so resourceful events, you see that there is it dilutes. Delay dilutes, distance dilutes. That's the key. Delay dilutes, distance dilutes. When people have very strong urge to do something, they come up with this. I just want to have this conversation with my boss, and I just want to massacre. I want to quit tomorrow. It's okay if I'm jobless. Kind of conversations. Delay dilutes, distance dilutes. I mean, two very
Delay dilutes, distance
dilute
dilute. Oh, see.
dilutes the intensity. When it is here, maybe it is 9 out of 10. Maybe when it is a kilometer away, maybe it's just 3 out of 10. Maybe when somewhere flying in the sky, it's just 0. It just doesn't matter. Also on the timeline, right? Maybe
Yeah.
5 years down the line, how much does this conversation matter? They say, absolutely. I don't even care. Maybe I'll not even remember after 5 years. So distance is also timeline.
Yeah. It's been so interesting engaging in these depths, these pieces. Allow me a moment, Prakash, not to interrupt, but to check with Yamini if there's any questions that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Yamini?
I know there are a lot of things on the chat. There is, I'm Yamini and Dens. If we can copy this somewhere,
Yeah.
and whenever we put this recording on the LinkedIn, we will try to answer everybody and
Mm,
tag them. We
absolutely.
we can do that
So,
because in the
Prakash,
flow of the
knowing,
conversation, we have not paid attention too much on the chat. But
yeah,
last 10 minutes, we'll maybe take some session, questions.
and Prakash, 10 minutes to go. Is there any more tools or techniques you think that will become supportive to us coaches?
Uh, Cindy, it is not about one particular tool or something,
Yeah.
but what does calibrating through linguistic patterns
Mm,
and uh, you know how people are thinking, because uh, neuro is how you think,
mm,
linguistic is what you speak, what's the representation of your experience, and P programming is the patterns. So if you are able to very closely watch that, it's almost like you're becoming a diagnostic center. For some, you can do a blood test. For some, you are doing a CT scan. For some, MRI. Now, no one diagnostic tool is good or bad. It's what necessary. Maybe somebody
yeah,
is operating always at the environment level. My office is toxic. People speak, right? Toxic
mm,
environment. They're at the environment stage. When when
yeah,
you, when you look at neurological levels of change, Dilt's neurological levels of change, maybe they are not out. They're not focusing on the identity or values or beliefs that can actually help them overcome or supersede what environment has to offer. Sometimes environment
mm,
can be hostile, but because people think, it's like a soldier in a hostile environment still stays strong because he's still operating as a soldier.
you're
Environment
right.
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You see that some of the monks, something is there, something is not there, hostile environment, weather changes. They're just like that because they're still operating at at a monk level, at a higher purpose level. So being observant of, use any tools, not just NLP, whether you're using Gestalt, um, ontological approach, mindfulness technique, any technique that you're using should aid you to explore more with the client. That's the key. You are not just asking marker questions. What is that you want to achieve today? Client says something, you have not explored anything. Suddenly you're asking, okay, so how will you know that you have achieved this? That's a no-no for me. I mean, at a level one, it's okay. But when people at PCC, MCC level do that, that's not okay.
yeah,
Why is this important? I don't know why people are not able to come out of this why from their vocabulary. CC3 is nothing about why, but you
no,
see 8 out of 10 coaches still use why is this important for you for 3.3? That is just because we
yeah,
are able to recognize that there is a drive behind everything that I seek from the universe. There is a drive, there is a motive. So
yeah. There's your
yes,
whys.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. The
we are we are
passion and
yeah,
purpose. Yeah,
we are exploring that, and we are not interrogating the client. Like, why do you want to get promoted? No, that's not the question. Hey, what's driving this? What's meaningful about getting promoted this year?
yeah. What would this promotion mean for
Means-
you?
Yeah, it's not the why. So, just by
Yeah,
altering a little, being very
yeah,
observant, and as I
yeah.
say, it's true North Star is always the client's way forward. Markers are there to enable that, should not become barriers to achieve client's way forward.
Because even when you ask that question, you see all these micro expressions like, what would it mean for you to become a PCC coach? You got to stop and really pay attention, right? Okay, you got to think about that. So that 3.3 allows you a moment to think, reflect, and then answer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Take healthy pauses. Whatever is your rate of speech as coaches,
Mm,
just slow down a little, maybe about 10-15% slow down. You will see that you are able to be with the client more.
mm.
Slowing down really helps.
Am I mean, yeah, even I've come to this point where I feel like slowed down, but I want to check with you. Have we, is there something more that you wanted to add to today's conversation that we haven't dived in as yet?
Cindy, tools, techniques are like diagnostic. It's like lab test, pathology lab test that you do.
How
The
you
focus,
say my name when you want to explain something,
yeah,
like Cindy, and then let me tell you.
yeah. So it focus is not on that. Because
Yeah.
often what we do is we go learn something, then we think that, okay, I know perceptual position. Focus is not on the tool. Focus is always on the magic that client can create for themselves. Because this is a biggest belief I have as a coach when I work with clients. Client does all the magic for themselves,
Mm,
and client is the magic.
absolutely.
Client is the magic, and client does the magic. We are like those, um, those assistants next to the magician. Have you seen some magic shows? The assistants come, they give something, they just dance around the uh, magician. We are just like that. Just facilitate the magic. Client is the magic. Client does the magic. Just be with the client.
So I want to ask you this question that's showing up. So something we are in doing this kind of coaching, this depth, this really paying attention and noticing all the pieces that are showing up unsaid, unfelt. What there's something we're leaving behind in clients. So I can't find a better word. So I'm going to ask you, what legacy do you believe the sense of deeper listening? Mm, what does it leave the client with?
I know there are 3 minutes left. I will try to do justice to this. Thanks for asking. Very, very important. At times, in in coaching conversation, it's a non-obtrusive environment. Client is not threatened. They know that coach is not forcing me anything, and they often feel psychologically safe. So they speak something, they arrive at some place, and there is some euphoria. Oh, from tomorrow I will start doing this.
Mm.
I, they're in that euphoric moment, right? I was angry for 20 years. Oh, I feel that it's all about me. I am to be blamed, nobody else. From tomorrow I'll become saintly. Good. I mean, fantastic. Something changed that did not change for 20 years. But was it deeper? Was it well anchored that tomorrow morning, if there is a trigger, that client does not go back to original position? Deep work does that, what it does is it supersedes euphoric moments and really helps client to build unconscious competency for themselves to be able to do it effortlessly. I need to anchor the actions. I need to anchor the awareness, expand and anchor awareness and anchor actions. That's what you need to do at the deeper level. Otherwise, my relationship with fitness is not great. 20 minutes into conversation, from tomorrow, I will start running 5 kilometers. Fantastic. How do you plan to do that? As you think of wearing your shoes, hitting the road, how do you feel about it? And if the client says, oh, I don't want to get up at 5:30 in the morning, there is no point. It was just said in the coaching conversation, but I don't think they will really go back and take action. Deeper conversations propels clients to take meaningful actions.
And I'm getting a sense of what you're saying now is that they also begin to listen to themselves with more compassion, right? To see what's going on with self. And of course, a sense of self trust then begins to show up in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coaches, it's been, or participants, it's been an absolute pleasure being with all of you. And Prakash, what a lovely conversation. I feel so, as if you and I just sitting down, having coffee and having a chat. It's been most enlightening. Is there anything you want to say to complete and close the webinar?
Thank you so much for joining in. I know some of you have asked book reference, blogs, and all of that. Every question that we find in the chat, you will see that tomorrow, whenever the recording uh, post is on Coacharya, please follow us on the LinkedIn and everything will be answered there. If we are able to tag you, we will tag you. Otherwise, we'll definitely answer your question there. Yep. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of International Coaching Week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you.